I met you through Robert Weber of Weber Medical, who's a laser company, basically, first and foremost, light and laser. So, I was like, okay, he's bringing on a supplement guy. Where's the synergy in that? But there's a huge synergy in it. So can you explain how you connected with Weber Medical and why you did that as a liposomal supplement company?
So this also originates from our cancer research, because in cancer, we are using substances. We are bringing with liposomes to different compartments, and then we are trying to activate the substance to destroy the tumor cells locally. And this is where we are having the connection between each other. We are using certain substances which can be activated by certain light lengths and then directly produce reactive oxygen species. And this reactive oxygen species drives cells to necrosis or to apoptosis. So you can locally, when you can saturate up a certain tissue with a substance, destroy the tissue there. Yeah, it doesn't depend if there's a good tissue or a bad tissue. That's why it's very crucial to have a very specific targeting of different types of cells or different types of tissues. But then you have a very localized therapy for certain, for example, cancers or tumor types and everything without any negative side effects, because light and the substance itself, there is no counter mechanism for a tumor against it. It's not like an efflux pump which will put out the substance, or the tumor is not reactive to a certain monoclonal antibody or something like this. It's like it has no counter reaction, or it has no possibility for a tumor to not be activated or be harmed by this type of substance. So this is where we're coming from. And now what we are seeing is we're using this in different types of, I would say, therapies. For example, we did a certain study in Kenya where we tried to cure, or I would say to help people with malaria. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we applied a vitamin B2 complex, which is then activated by blue light. And this light could clear out the parasites out of the bloodstream. Yeah, I know people will tell you parasites are also in fat lovely tissue, but in the end of the day, normal therapies only are curing them out of the bloodstream, and the measurement is the bloodstream parasite value and not the fat tissue, because I cannot measure in fat tissue. So, but we had very good results out of it. And nowadays we are using light therapy combined with supplements, because red light has also another possibility of interacting with substances. For the first thing is red light activates the metabolism of cells. So when you apply red light onto cells over a hand ref with the endolight laser watch, or maybe you do photobiomodulation like intravenously, what you can also do with the laser system, you have an activation of metabolism. This drives substances direct into the cell, because the cell is metabolized and activated more. And then otherwise also red light is creating certain holes in the membrane. So surrounded substances, when the dissolving and the blood levels of certain substances are high enough, you achieve even a higher uptake. So this is like adding. You don't need the synergy, or this adding of different types. But when you have it, you just boost your therapy even higher than it is anyways. But only when you really have substances which are available in the bloodstream. So it's not that for a normal curcumin, it does nothing, because curcumin won't be taken up into our bloodstream and it's not there. So light therapy won't make a substance which is not available for our body be available. It only makes a substance which is available be even better. That's the adding.
Is this what you see as the future of supplementation? Because it sounds pretty cool that you could take a liquid, your Biosomo, you could drink that and understand that there's billions of these particles of curcumin, whatever it may be, vitamin B, D. And then you could wear a watch with lasers on it, like the endo laser that is penetrating through the skin into the radial arteries, into the veins, and stimulating. So you have this compound circulating, then being photodynamized to be even more bioavailable. Is that how you see the future of supplementation? Like people literally doing that, strapping this watch on and just getting incredible efficacy from their supplements?
I think this is the way we should promote and where we should work on. Yeah.
To take that even a step further, Matthias, do you see it where certain areas you could shine laser on to stimulate? Would that increase the absorption of a certain thing to go to a certain area? Because I know a lot of times you're talking about systemic reactions, where a lot of times you want something to go somewhere. I know my father was always trying to do this. I know I could pump things into the body. How do I get it to really go into the brain, to liver, into these areas, stimulate it there? And do you see it as possibly light can be that bridging that guides things to a certain area, or are we still not there yet and it's still very systemic?
So we are on the path to this research. What I know that I read even publications where you could interact with certain tissues with light and, for example, drive stem cells there.
Yes.
Yeah, because the tissue is activated in a certain space. We are not understanding it fully. What is happening, of if there are like enzymes released by the cells or by the tissue, which are attracting then stem cells directly to this compartment. But what we see is that there is some attraction. And what we also see is that certain types of tissue attract cells which are also in a certain type much better than others. Yeah. So for example, we did once a research with circulating tumor cells. We are just clumped them to a circle on a plate and then put stem cells next to them. And even without irradiation, the stem cells were attracted by this tumor environment. We don't know directly why. What for pathways were activating, for enzymes or molecules were released to attract this type of cells. But I believe it could be a possibility to, in future, to have a certain cell type or a certain therapy which will attract substances to go there and to interact with this certain tissue specifically.
That's incredibly cool if you think about it.
Yeah. But in a much higher value than they will interact with other tissue.
And anecdotally, we've seen it at the clinic utilizing things like concentrated PRP, V cells, stem cells as well, and utilizing laser light in certain areas to really stimulate that and get a reaction. Because, of course, stem cells are there to repair. V cells and PRP are also somewhat of a guidance system, telling where to go and seeing where repair is needed. And then finally, the stimulation of certain light can also not just increase blood flow and oxygenation, but kind of act as a signal to the body. Everything is information. Let's put it that way. How you break it down and how your body uses it. So if you could utilize light within highly bioavailable substances that are also signaling different repairs and different things, then that seems like you're not being wasteful anymore. You're not just pumping the body full and hoping it goes to the parts it needs to. Of course, the body is smart, but it's a lot is lost too. Sometimes we could help with that efficiency. So, I mean, talk about like the implications of that, like even things like repair of knees or joints and ligaments and certain things. Like, have you been looking at that, of utilizing Biosomo with light onto, let's say, the knee for anti-inflammation, everything else?
So this is like, we are not like so long on the market now. This is a very new product. So we are like, now out for, I believe, only 3 months. Yeah, because it took a little bit of development and transferring the technology to the compounds we have now. And then I believe through some experience and time, we will see this and also have better, I would say, standard operation procedures. We will see what for amounts and the dosing directly, how long we should apply energy over a certain time, because energy or light is nothing else than energy per square centimeter, which we are applying on a certain surface. And this is also a thing, which penetration depths we need.
Right.
If we have benefits by combining different light lengths, if what for light lengths directly we need, which insights are there. Even we could also think about maybe someday targeting the blood, targeting the brain with substances, to achieve a substance which is able to cross the blood-brain barrier, or to maybe interact with the blood-brain barrier with light in a certain space, then to interact with other substances. This is, but I believe we are in the beginning, and we just have to take step by step, and then yeah.
Well, it's an exciting future. Yeah, it's a very exciting future.
I believe, in my opinion, we are on the right path.
I do too, and I've always found. I mean, I've always spoken to my father about this of how do we get things to go to certain places, enhance the absorption there, really get it to be delivered, enhance bioavailability. These are the secrets we need to unlock to truly start to, I think, reverse disease in this much simpler way than all the procedures and heavy drugs we're using right now in modern medicine. And things like you said, the brain, transcranial photobiomodulation is an amazing thing. Then you add in the right elements around it that synergize it and really impact the brain and absorb it through there. And you could do so much to really help the brain, which is such an important organ within the body.